Grandmaster Rodel, would you mind telling how old were you when you first started training with a knife?
I started training my Arnis, Filipino martial arts, when I was 14 years old. But I started training, the traditional. Then after that, I trained from my godfather, who was the founder of modern Arnis.
What is the difference of this system among the other systems? What's the advantages of this system?
Well, actually, almost the same, when it comes to Arnis, with the use of stake, hand, and bladed weapon like that, Actually, Arnis is combination of both hands, knife, and then anything in your hand is a weapon like that. But, modern Arnis, we try to follow the system of, karate to become a very systematic way. So because before, in old Arnis, we try to, there is no system, their thinking is just for fighting right away. But in modern Arnis, there is a system. First, you have to train the student about the cardinal roles, how to control like that, So it's really very systematic, like karate. We pattern it into karate to become very, very systematic.
Would you mind telling, in your system, what kind of knives do you use?
All right, actually, in my system, anything, when it comes to knife, doesn't matter if what kinds of knife. We can use short knife or long bladed weapon. Serve as the king, The length is all approximately 28 inches or sometimes more than that. And we are using the knife maybe from 10 to 12 inches knife, either one blade or a double bladed knife. We can use that. Or maybe, kerambit. So meaning, as what I've said, that anything in your hand, you can apply as a weapon. Doesn't matter if, because in Arnis, we call it Arnis de mano. Mano means, hand in Spanish. Mano means hand, and Arnis is long. So we call it Arnis de mano. You can play it with your hand, you can play it with the stick, or you can play it with knife and bladed weapon. That's it.
Would you mind sharing the methodology of your system? For example, when one person comes to you to learn your system, what kind of stages does he go through?
Well, actually, in my system, first of all, you try to teach about the principles of Arnis. About, of course, at least he knows about the story of Arnis, and then after that, how to bow, courtesy, respect to the olds, like that, Then after that, you try to teach him about the footwork, the body posture, the 6 cardinal roles in Arnis, like respect, like what do you call courtesy, like that. Then loyalty to the art, up to the time that, from the beginning, and then little by little, you try to add, become, then after that, depending on how long you've been doing it, so you can train him just, counter against disarming, or how to disarm the knife, how to disarm the stick, or how to use your hand without anything in your hand. So many different things, if you learn. That's why, Arnis, they call it complete martial arts. Yeah, that's why, I travel around the world because of this. Because many people love this because, according to them, very practical art, it's something like very complete art with use of stick, hand, knife, and bladed weapon. So it's something like very complete martial art.
Would you mind telling your opinion? What do you think about other systems of knife martial arts, let's say Hispanic, Italian martial arts?
Well, for me, all martial art is good, depending on the person who use the art. Yeah. So I don't see that my system is good. As what I've said, that all martial art is good. So depending on the person, it's not style. It's not style, but the man.
Why did you choose particularly a knife?
Okay. Well, actually, in knife fighting, of course, instead of live blade, because that's very dangerous, So instead of, we're just having blunt blade for training purposes only. Sometimes we use wood or aluminum that's blunt or dull. It couldn't cut you because that's very dangerous to learn this art, So you need control, you know, control and then correct distance. And then, if you learn really this art, there are eight, you try to follow the eight components of physical fitness are developed to become good athlete or players. You should know, the agility, flexibility, balance, timing, coordination, speed, power, endurance to become good athlete someday. That's what I'm just trying to tell to all my students.
Do you think psychological preparation is important for a person to train with a knife?
That's right, yeah. That's absolutely right. You must be really very instinct of that, because if not, you will be cut. That's why you need, as what I've said, that timing is there, correct distance is there, agility, flexibility, coordination, everything. Even in movements, you're having good moves, correct stances, weaving, bobbing, evading, like that. So that you can create a good technique when it comes to real fighting. But in training, you must learn how to control, because in the training, actually, you can have many repetition to make it perfect, Not only one time, two times, but in one technique, many repetition, just to perfect the movements. Right over, even also in karate, you must learn how to control, you see? Because that's very important in any martial art. That's why, in my system, before we started teaching you, I'd like to teach you different combination of posture, stances, and footwork. That's very important to all martial artists. Yeah.
How long have you been teaching this?
Including teaching and including when I started doing this art up to now, yeah, almost 50 years already. And then the founder of this art pushed me to learn because we belong to the same island, we belong to the same dialects. So he pushed me to learn this art because he was the founder of modern Arnis. Then up to now, I'm still 67 years old, but still, I'm just still doing Arnis because Arnis now is one of the very popular martial art all over the world. That's why almost 50 years I've been doing this.
What actually moved you to start teaching people the system?
Well, actually, because I'm a small guy, ever since when I was small, like lots of friends, bullying me, and also in the Philippines, supposed to be, even though just a little martial art, because, just to defend yourself, that's it. And then, not only to defend yourself, like me, this is already part of my life, because I love teaching, I love training, all the time, so that's why, up to now, I'm, my family told me that I'm going to have a rest, because I'm very old already, but still, because that's something like, that's my commitment, my passion, doing martial arts. I cannot do it, stand always watching television like that, sitting down without anything to do. So for me, because I'm farmers working from the field, so I used to do that. That's why that's my passion, training.
But what was the reason you started teaching it to other people?
in my own idea, I'd like to share my knowledge to other people, especially for the kids, just to defend themselves, So then at the same time, not only for self-defense, but also for physical conditioning. That's why we trained, we trained professional people, we trained kids, we trained senior citizen, because in training, so it helps to develop your body movements, your physical conditioning like that, So not only by means of what's it called, self-defense, but at the same time, you try to have practice with your own, you know. So that's why I push myself to impart my knowledge about teaching. And then at the same time, I travel around the world because of this. So I love that. I travel from Europe, Asia, America because of Arnis. So, I tell people that as long as I have my stick in my hand, stick is my plane ticket, stick is my visa, stick is my, everything because of my stick. So I travel a lot.
Is there any logical model in your teaching system, this Arnis system?
We call it Dagooc Arnis system. I think not only thousands of system. So, but modern Arnis is one of the biggest practitioner, because without modern Arnis, because this is already dying art before. No one, not too many people wants to learn this, because according to them, Arnis is just it's not good, because during that time when I started in 1970s, karate, judo, taekwondo is very famous, and Arnis is not very famous. Sometimes they call it. Reason there, according to them, it's not good because if you are going to fight, you have to look for stick. But now they don't know that stick is only the extension of your hand. Meaning, anything in your hand is a weapon. And then the movement of the stick is like like bulu, we call it bladed weapon. That's why we call it Arnis, Kali, Eskrima. But it's difficult, because Eskrima is from Spanish. Eskrima, that's fencing, like fencing.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kali, it means bladed weapon, and Arnis is stick. So, that's it. So, it's something like, it's difficult to trace up before, but if you said Eskrima, Arnis, Garoti, Baston, or Kali is another one.
Would you mind naming 5 main elements of your system, the main tenets of your system?
So you can defense, offense against opponent, and then you have to watch out against your opponent. So that's one of the very important. And then of course, in fighting, to know oneself is to study oneself, not to attack right away. You have to know your opponents. You have to know first your opponent. So that's the only way, Because of my experience of some karate, like that, a little bit about foreign martial art. So I developed my own, because of my experience, I put up the system. This is the Dagooc Arnis system. Because I have my 2 sons as my successor. So later on, because I'm becoming old, so time will come that who will be the one to follow me. Because if you said modern Arnis, that's from Princess family. That's from my grandfather. But when I say the Dagooc system, that's from Master Rodel. Mm-hmm. So that's why I force myself to make this system, the Dagooc Arnis system. Actually, this system is very effective, because I used to have locking, disarming, okay, counter against disarming, okay, then take down like that. Then up to the time that if you are going to continue this, it becomes a Filipino wrestling, because there is a takedown. The 8 components is included there. You know, the agility, flexibility, the timing, coordination, balance, speed, power. So you can, in my system, you can defense, you can offense against opponent's attack.
What is the most important thing for a person when he just starts training? For example, he comes to you. What is the first thing that you teach him?
Of course, you know, you try to explain about your system. Then after that, you try to uh, explain about the six cardinal rules in Arnis, like sportsmanship is there, discipline, self-confidence, self-control. You have to explain to your student. Then after that, first, how to handle the stick. You have respect to your opponents. That's very important, you know. Then after that, you have, in fact, you know, just try to, in every martial art, when, before we started, you're having, you try to explain about the warm up, body warm up like that, because in any martial art, you just try to do that, you know. Then after that, you started it from stances. Yeah, very important. Stances, very important. Then after that, stances, body posture, like and footwork. Then after that, how to use, how to deliver the strike, because we have our own striking techniques. And then after striking, the blocking. Then after that, counter against strike. Blockings with single counter, blockings with double counter. Then after that, disarming. With the use of a stick, disarming with the use of empty hand. Then after that, as soon as, but it takes you months, not only, you know, it takes months because you try to develop all the techniques before you are going to teach an additional. Yeah. Same thing also in other martial arts. Yeah. So you try to repeat many different, repeat and repeat until the time that you're becoming good. So, because the system is like karate also, after maybe 4 months or 3 months, there is also examination like karate. Because modern artists, we pattern this into karate, you know. For example, if 5 people will train, uh, the 4 people will sit down and then one will start. Not like today, even though thousands of you I can teach in time because of the strategy in teaching. We have a method in teaching now, but before no. So that's some of the, you know, of the parts we are going to teach to the student.
What would you advise to people that just came to study your system, Arnis? I mean, they're youngsters. What would you advise them?
Well, actually, my advice to all my students is just to continue practicing my system. Not only they could still learning from other systems. Just to add, maybe I advise them to just continue training, even 30 minutes a day, and then repeat the technique all the time. Not only one time, but I said repeat, repeat, just to make it perfect. And then we have something like philosophy from this, you know. I'm just telling them that master what you know and learn what you don't know. That's very important. That's why all my students all over the world, they try already to promote my system. There are many of them are already teaching my system from other different parts of the world. So that's why I travel. During the examination, I did seminar because of that, you know.
What are the difference between these two systems? Working with a knife and between working with a stick.
Okay, right, because stick, you know, is longer than the knife. So in stick, you can fight. There are 3 different distances. We call it the long range, the medium, and the short range. But in knife, mostly close range fighting, because you cannot hit your opponent if it is too far, you know. What are you going to do is, if there is an attacker, you try to come in so that you have a chance to hit your opponents. But because when you withdraw, there's no chance for you to hit your opponents. That's why you try to cover the distance, I mean. But in stick, you can fight long range, medium, and in close. You can adjust like that because of the footwork. You try to, because before that, we try to develop footwork. You can evade, you can switch, you could collapse, come in, come out, or withdraw, like that, But it's better for you to do that, both of them. Because we have also technique like espada y daga. One long and one short. So, meaning you are in between the short and the long range. You can fight, you can adjust your body, by weaving, because long and short. So, you can have that.
Would you mind sharing the methodology of your work with the knife? How do you structure it?
Yes, because in Arnis, not only stick, you are going to, as what I've said earlier, in Arnis, you should know how to use the knife, empty hand, then double stick, single stick, we call the long one and the short one, and then knife, and then empty hand. So, all of those, you must know to make it really complete. That's why we call it FMA. That's why when you heard about FMA, Filipino martial art, that's already complete. And then anything in your hand, like this one, anything in your hand is a weapon. So this is good for, so this is good for close fighting.
Why do you think there are so many people nowadays that are willing to teach the martial arts of knife?
Today, have you heard that too many stabbing, anywhere, any part of the world, there are some fighting with use of knife. That's why many people carrying knife, not only here in the Philippines, but all over the world. That's why, in knife fighting, you must know how to learn how to defend. That's why when you learn Arnis, you learn both. Because as what I've said, that Arnis is complete martial art.
In your opinion, do you think a knife has its future in 21st century?
Yes, I think, yeah. But, it depends upon the country, I think in your country, it's illegal to carry knife. But I think anywhere in the world, many people already, using knife. Not only for cutting, not only for cutting vegetables or fish, but they try to carry knife just really for defend themselves. Yeah, that's that's why many people carrying knife, especially even here in the Philippines, many people carrying knives. But I think for the future time, they still doing this, they still using the knife.
How do you think, what are the stages that a person should go through in order to become a master?
First, you try to, if you are really interested to learn, that's very important, So you have to put it in your mind that that's your commitment. I want to learn this art. I want to, because if not, 50-50, what I mean, you will not learn. You try to focus in learning. You have to think, I want life to study, I will become master someday, I have to protect myself, do this. You try to put it in your mind that learning is my commitment. That's it.
Do you have a person in mind that you consider to be a great master?
Well, actually, my grandmaster, but he's already passed away, Remy Amador Pesas.
Is there something else that you would like to share about your system?
Well, actually, I would like to invite people, I cannot say that my system is really good, but according to my experience, I would like to tell people that, because my system is used to defend and against opponent, like that, I'd like to train them how to defend themselves. I train them how to make the movements really very effective. So that's why you try in Ching, you try to, to teach them all of those, how to control, proper delivering of the strike. You try to avoid fancy things. Every movements always, always in the proper way of executing the technique. That's why you try to avoid all of these fancy things. I mean, fancy, with just for nothing. So I'm just trying to tell my student that you must do this. Lots of advice in a way to become good practitioner in my art.
Would you mind sharing about strategy and tactics of your system?
You can, well, the only way, the strategy when it comes to my system, you try to focus, you try to focus learning my art. So that's why I advise them just to, for example, I'm going to teach this technique. I'm just trying to tell them that you try to repeat this many times. That's the only way. At least you try to practice at least 20 minutes a day. That's fine. Because sometimes, there are some students that they train only once a week. And then sometimes it's absent. So it's difficult for them to adapt. Because once in a week training is not enough, So that's why I tell them just, sometimes, even I'm like me, even I'm just watching television, but I'm still having lots of moves. I'm just thinking about the training. So that's the only way, just to make it just to perfect. Repeat many times. Yeah. Check your movements. Face the mirror. Then observe your posture, your moving, your in general, it's your action. You try to check yourself. The will of yourself, that's it.
Okay, you block. As soon as, this is the secret. As soon as you heard the sound, but you practice that way. Sound,